Hey everyone, this is Joshua, and welcome to another broadcast. Today we have round two. It's really a follow up from yesterday's broadcast. We have some more of the quote unquote patients at MSOP here in Minnesota, which is a shadow prison. It's a hospital disguised as a treatment facility for sex offenders. And it's not much of a treatment facility, as we have learned. If you've listened to any of the other broadcasts, a lot of them have been very, very eye-opening. Yesterday was very blessed to speak with several members from the Native American community, various Native American communities. And to be honest, those are probably my favorite stories that I've been a part of all of the different broadcasts that I've done. Hearing from them was special to me because there was so much hope, and I admire anyone who can cling to their faith in the way that they apparently are, while also having their religious liberties removed. Now, the phone's about to ring here shortly, and I believe Daniel and a few other guys that are familiar names will be joining. But again, I don't have a lot of information. The communication is not the greatest thing in the world, but I feel privileged to be able to do this. I don't know why I get to be the one to help share these stories, but I'm grateful for it. And it definitely helps me keep things in perspective, because anytime I want to think that, things are hard for me or challenging, and I can get down when it just feels like there's a challenge around every single corner. It's amazing to have people put things in perspective. And if these men can keep fighting and keep having hope, then, I can too. And I hope that you experience the same thing. I really do, because, look, it's not easy right now. Seems like all the people that are trying to do good in the world are the ones that are struggling the most, and the ones that are not trying to do good, or the ones that are pretending to do good, seem to be having all of the success. And that can be hard. It can be very discouraging. I know a lot of people that share a faith similar to mine, or even people that are Christian. They're struggling. But there's people that are, Muslim and Buddhist and atheist, and, a lot of people are struggling now. I don't think your religion necessarily determines whether or not you're doing good in the world or not. But so that's why I threw atheist in that mix, because I think there are a lot of really good-hearted people that want to make a difference in the world, and it's a struggle. So, but the thing is, it's worth it. I know it's worth it. For every obstacle I've ever faced in my life, it's amazing to be able to have those breakthroughs and those little reminders that, hey, this is worth it. It's worth it. And I've experienced that with my own life. It's been a long journey. I made the mistake of, it's not a mistake, I only say that kidding, but I have a big vision and a big dream, and sometimes it feels so far away. Other times it feels like it's right there on the next step. But that's part of the journey, is that internal battle. So that said, these guys give me hope. I have hope for them, because you know what? Some of them there don't have hope. Some of them, my God, 17 years. I think about my 7-year journey to rehabilitate my life after all the crap that I did, and all the evil and the mistakes, stupid decisions. And I think, okay, that's 7 years that I haven't been in prison, because I should have been in prison for 5 of those years. And I haven't been, so I'm blessed there. Then when I talk to some of these guys, 17 years, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, that some of these guys have been locked up with, in their eyes, or even the way these rules are set up, that they're supposed to have no chance to get out. But yet they still have hope. And that to me is inspiring. Here we go.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from call for subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hey there.
Hello.
This is Joshua. How are you?
I'm all right. I talked to you. Remember?
Yeah, I do. I remember your voice.
Yeah. Anyways, Dan and Russ wanted me to talk to you again today, and I think it was about, they wanted to talk about diagnosis again. So I have no problem talking about it. Is there any way you wanted to do this?
No, we're right now we're recording, and so I mean, the floor is yours, man. Because I have no idea who it is that I have scheduled to speak to. Not that I ever plan questions, but if I feel led to ask a question, I will. But I really just want to give you all the floor to share and talk about whatever you want.
Okay, I understand. And then the other thing, I wanted to ask you a question. So, how do we promote your podcast? How do we go about doing that? Is that an appropriate question?
Well, yeah, of course. I'm grateful for that. Everything is at my website, joshuatberglan.com, and everything's there. We distribute out from there. I self-host all my content, and so everything's on my website.
What I wanted to know, because I got some folks that are going to want to tuning in on that.
Okay.
And then,
thank you.
Yeah. Right. So thank you for that. And then, so I'll just go ahead and I'll tell you basically the same thing what I was saying yesterday. It's interesting because today I just had a friend. His name is Roger Robb. He just went to his tap today, and he's doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. He's saying, "Hey, look, I got a misdiagnosis, and I'm being overdiagnosed just to keep me confined." And his attorney wouldn't ask the questions of the doctor, and he wouldn't put in the motion to take on the disorder. And he basically got fired. Anyways, he fired his attorney today, and the CAP allowed it. So they're going to do a continuum to get him a different attorney, because our attorneys are so bad. They have no idea how to cross-examine these doctors, because it's just not their field. They're legally, or they're into the law. They're not into psychiatry or psychology, nor do they even know how to go about questioning these doctors. And what's been going on here in Minnesota, and like I said yesterday, it's the proverbial snowball that gets kicked off the mountaintop. Everything works from the concept that you have to have a disorder. All disorders, well, not all disorders, but personality disorders and paraphilic disorders are the two classifications that they like to use. Paraphilic disorders are paraphilia. They're things like pedophilia, sadism, broaderism, and whatnot. And they have this one called other specified paraphilic disorder, and then they identify the paraphilia that they think that you have. And in most cases, what they've been doing with the gentleman here, they've been diagnosing him with other specified paraphilic disorder, and then they call this thing non-consent. Well, non-consent it's not a workable paraphilia, because what they're describing is something that's been rejected by all the writers for DSM-5 and the profession for over 30 years. All DSM rejected that classification, non-consent, as being a workable paraphilia. And what they called it was paraphilic coercive disorder, or paraphilic coercion disorder, which was rapism. And then they had non-consent, and they also say violence, and they also like to say by history. So these are the ways that they describe rapism. And all rape is a crime. So what they're doing is they're essentially saying, look, all rapists and everybody that's in prison, they have this disorder, but this is not true. It's rejected. But yet in Minnesota, they continue to do it, and the doctors are getting up on the stand and saying, yes, this is a viable disorder. And the lawyers have no idea how to cross-examine and how to debunk it. So it carries at the end of the day. And the same thing goes with the personality disorders. They have different types of personality disorders, like antisocial personality disorder, borderline personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder. And then they also have another one called other specified personality disorder. And basically what they do is they write down narcissistic traits or antisocial traits, or they'll write borderline personality disorder traits. So they'll describe one of the full-blown personality disorders, but they'll say you don't have it all the way, but you have it partially. And then they say the magical wand that they use, they say it's linked to sexual harmful conduct. Ergo, it is now a sexual disorder, which is not true. And if it was true, that would be good news, because there was this dissertation out there in the field that said, hey, everybody, people with antisocial personality disorder have a propensity to rape, or people with narcissistic personality have a propensity to rape. Basically, they're a bunch of Donald Trump, you know? It doesn't work that way, though, because personality disorders are not linked to sexual harmful conduct yet. They continue to say that with all the gentlemen in here. And again, the lawyers don't know how to cross it up, and know how to debunk it or cross examine it. So these are the things that are happening here in MSOP. And that's why I've been studying now this stuff for the last, for 30 years. I've been locked up for 30 years, and I've been wondering, how is it that I get debunked? Because I know I don't have a disorder. And I know that many of the men here don't have a disorder. But that's how they do it. They say that they changed the DSM-5 because they knew that the language inside the previous DSM were all or they weren't written for legal purposes. So what happened was they said, if you have something that looks like it, always get a doctor to say that you have it, and that's what they've done. But when they wrote the DSM-5, because of all the misdiagnosing and all the way they weaponize all those DSMs, they wrote it and they say, no, there's a threshold for having a disorder, and that threshold is called what they call the impairment threshold, or it's referred to by different things called the duress, impairment, or disability threshold. So when you see somebody out there that has a disorder, you know what it looks like. Think of The Exorcist. They have something in them that robs them of their volition, and they can't make up choices for themselves, and they can't. It robs them of that, and that's what happens with these guys, people that have disorders. The thing is that sometimes people, they do things that are antisocial, and they do things that are criminal, but that doesn't mean they have a disorder, because they're making a conscious choice. They're not robbed of it. So that's what separates criminals from the people that are disordered. Disordered people can't put in prison because it would be illegal, because it's not their fault. It's the sickness that's doing it. Criminal does it for his own selfish or for because it's just evil. And that there's a distinction, and that's what's going on with this whole civil commitment in this is that they're pretending that all these people that did all these things that were criminal, just because they look like the same thing that somebody who has a disorder does, the behavior looks the same, they're saying, okay, we're just going to say now that you're disordered and it's not your fault. Now we keep you locked up this way. And that's what they're doing here in Minnesota. And that's what makes this whole thing criminal. It's dangerous to do that because they can do this to anybody now. And the fact of the matter is, Commissioner VHS has an army of about 25 different psychologists and family practitioners and social workers that say they know how to do a diagnosis, say that they are in accordance with the DSM-5, when they are. Nothing could be further from the truth. Because none of them, when I talk to them, I've been talking to them now for 10 years, none of them know what the impairment concept is. None of them know what I'm talking about, what's the threshold for getting a disorder. They can't tell you that because they don't know, because they're not trained. Psychology is a huge field.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that
No, I was agreeing with you, because one of the things that I pointed out before is that, depending on the school of thought that you learn, because every school program, they have the curriculum. So, for instance, some people are really into Freud and his belief system, and then other people are into Carl Jung, but they're completely different philosophies that believe completely different ways. Therefore, they diagnose completely different. So it's almost not fair, and it's not even like, I don't know if subjective is the right word, but are you guys able to ask for second opinions from outside sources?
And like you said,
That's so.
I said, so that what happens is that when they have this huge field of psychology, and they got people that are like, some of them are experts when it comes to family therapy and for the marriages and everything, or what do they call that? Marriage and counseling and stuff. And they got others that are social workers, and they got other ones that know how to read. They got other ones that are good with risk. And that's what they hire a bunch of people here that are really good with risk. But when it comes to diagnosis, when it comes to finding out if somebody has an impairment concept to legitimately quantify and validate a diagnosis, they're bereft. They don't have any of those people in here. And that's why they don't like talking to me, and they don't have any tolerance for me. And I don't even get an MHA. I don't have people giving me diagnosis. When I went to the CAP, they had this Dr. Linda Marshall, been getting tricked out, saying in a report that has been given the diagnosis of other specified personality disorder. Not even giving it, says I've been given. And then when I asked her, who gave you this? And she can't give you an answer. And when I look at an MHA from the past, like from 7 years ago, they'll still say, well, this doctor did it. And I go, let's check his methodology. What is he talking about? And then when I look at his report, he says, you have this crime, this crime, this crime. Therefore, you have this disorder. If that was the case, if all we had to do is look at somebody's criminal record to diagnose them, there would be no need for experts. The judge could do it himself right there on the bench. All he needs was DSM-5, but that's not what they do. Yes, there has to be an expert diagnosis. Now, here's what's interesting. In Minnesota, the legal standard for an expert is somebody that's got a doctorate in psychology. Now, like it goes back to what I said before. Psychology is a key field. What do they have their doctorate in? They don't have people that work here don't have a doctorate in diagnosis. They're all over the map, but not in diagnosis. So, when you go into the courtroom and you say, would you agree that this is an expert? You say, yes, it is. Once you say that, once your attorney stipulates that that person is an expert, you have to pass their qualifications as to whether or not they're an expert when it comes to diagnosis. So it's very, very important that doctors or that lawyers challenge did not stipulate that people are not experts. And that's our biggest problem here in MSOP. We could shut this whole program down if all 800 people would just fight their disorder or their diagnosis. They could win it just on that principle alone, and we could shut the whole thing down. And that's where I'm at with it. That's what I've been trying to yell. But it's complicated because not only do you have to fight people in here in the MSOP, the clinic here, you have to fight your attorney, you have to fight the state, you have to fight the judges, because everybody's been doing this blueprint for 30 years. They think it's right as rain, when nothing is further from the truth.
Wow. So there's an organization called Rethink, and it's a mental health organization. Have you guys heard of it? Rethink, all over their website. You might want to take a note if you're able to get some information on it or have someone on the outside that can help. There are laws in place that guarantee your right for a second opinion. And so Rethink is an organization that takes that on.
That information, I would like to have that. And then I would like to encourage everybody out there and to help people to go after the diagnosis. And then, like I was saying yesterday, if a person had a diagnosis, it had a real legitimate disorder in this facility, he would know, because MSOP is mandated by policy to write down every single time that disorder is manifesting. If I have antisocial...
You have 1 minute remaining.
If I had, I'm doing stuff like that, I'm constantly breaking the rules. But the fact that I'm not doing that is proof that I am making conscious choices, and I'm not, my volition is not getting robbed. If making me do things that I don't want to do.
Right.
And they do that because they want you to know when, where, and how your disorder is being manifested. And by doing so, when you finally acknowledge it, then we can start working on it. But that's not happening at MSOP. They're lying. But they got me on the 1 minute warning. But thanks a lot once again, Josh, for letting me talk to you. And if you ever need to talk to me again, let me know, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great day, man. Thanks for calling.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That's one of the guys I loved yesterday. Like that guy. We'll be right back as soon as the next phone call happens. You know, this is completely random, but I'm sitting here because I pushed pause on a recording to go grab the wormwood. No, I'm not trying to trip, but I just did a broadcast about parasites with a really cool doctor, a really great doctor. Anyway, we were talking about parasites and how they affect us and how they affect our mental health and our body. I mean, those little parasites, they steal all the nutrients out of food. They're terrible, and they're like little demons. So that inspired me to go back and get wormwood. And if you eat a lot of pork, fatty food, even steaks, and you don't really know for sure if it's grass-fed or not, you might want to check this out, because a lot of people have parasites and have no clue. And I don't represent this company or anything, but this product is legit. It's the Gaia Herbs Wormwood Black Walnut Supreme. And what's all in this? Black walnut extract, sweet wormwood, pomegranate freeze-dried, coptis root, don't know what that is really, more wormwood, clove, flower bud, and ginger root. I love this. And it took me, the last time I did this, took about 2 days for me to start expelling parasites. And they are little boogers, man, let me tell you. But this product is like $9. It's worth checking out. And look, it doesn't hurt anything to take. It's not something you keep taking forever anyway, but it's worth the money just to find out if you have parasites. And if worst case scenario, it gives you energy. There's a lot of benefits to this product. It's good for your libido, good for energy, it's good for your adrenal glands, it's good for your GI tract. It's fantastic. So, yeah, I don't make any money off selling this, but I do recommend this product, especially if you have parasites. And most of us do. You would be shocked. All right, we'll be back. All right. Phone's ringing. Let's do this.
Oh, this is a free call from
Mark.
a client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, press 0. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello, Mark. You're on the air.
All right, Joshua. I'm gonna give you a little start at the beginning here. I came here 3 years ago. I originally was arrested for a marijuana grow operation, and I received 17 months. And 2 days before I was going to be released from Stillwater prison, Anoka County came and grabbed me up and put me on a 210 hold. Now I'm here. I'm doing a life sentence. My crime was 1984. I did 3 years back then. I haven't done anything since other than grow pot, which was illegal, but it is what it is. Since being here, within 4 months, they wanted me to go and move into a cell with someone. I'm on a rescue deal. So they wanted me to move into a cell with someone who stains with charcoal and everything else. And even the person I was moving in with said, no, that's for himself. For me to deny to move in that cell, they put me in a place called HSA, a high security area, equivalent to segregation, for 69 days. Being back there, being on medication and type 2 diabetic, every day, 4 times a day, I'm handcuffed. I have to get on my knees, take my hands out of the food hatch, they handcuff me. attach a leash to it, open the door, put a belt on, and around my waist, which attached the handcuffs, and give me my medication, and put me back in the cell. 4 times a day I dealt with this, and for 69 days, all because I wouldn't move into a cell that was bad for my health. Finally, 69 days later, they let me out of that situation. But they tried violating me for not moving in the cell. But I only had 30 days parole left. The HRU board said, no, we're not violating. Now, this HSA is one of the worst places I've ever seen in my life. You get a spoon that's made out of paper, which means when you get spaghetti or lettuce, you can't obviously eat it with a paper spoon. It's just a square piece of spoon, you fold it up. So they're forcing you to eat with your hand. Don't even get a water cup. You get a condiment cup from like McDonald's or ketchup. That's what you drink out of. It's biodegradable. So it only lasts 10 times. You only get 1 day. You're strip searched in and out. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. Super degrading. Okay, now we'll go to healthcare problem. Now, just recently, I fractured my ankle. I went down to health services, told them something's wrong with my ankle. They looked at it and said, oh, you'll be okay. Drink some water, take some ibuprofen. A month goes by. I go down again. I'm complaining all the way, 100% pain. Can't walk on it. Finally, 70 days later, they x-ray it. Guess what? It's fractured and ossification is starting to take place. This happened on a Friday. I had it x-rayed. At 9 o'clock at night, they call me down to the med window, give me a brace. Say, guess what? Your ankle's fractured. That was it. Have they addressed it yet? No. They haven't addressed nothing yet. But during that time, my blood pressure was through the roof because of the pain. Do they address that? Nope. For my blood pressure being through the roof for the past year, I've been dealing with a retinal surgery and I'm going blind in my right eye because of hemorrhage from having blood pressure readings 189 over 109.
Oh.
And it's killing me. They're killing me here. I've never seen anything like it. And they tell me to take ibuprofen and Tylenol, which being high blood pressure and diabetic is bad for me. You know, I'm keeping a huge paper trail to go after them, but there's so many battles here. We don't know which one to fight. This is my battle, healthcare. You know, I'm trying to make it out so I can be with my kids and maybe build another house or do that kind of stuff. But
You have 1 minute remaining.
I'll have to call back.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you for using GTL.
Medical malpractice. The other thing, too, those of you who have not listened to the past broadcast, there's people on there that are too obese to walk. There's people in there that are amputees that are not able to walk. They're in very unsafe wheelchairs. If you know anything about decubitus ulcers and bed sores, you know, I've heard some cases that's happening, and then that the risk of it is pretty dangerous. I mean, just to give you an idea, flap surgery, the last time I checked, which when I worked in that industry in healthcare, $300,000, and there's like a 90% fail rate. He's calling back.
Hello, this is a free call from a client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Okay, John, but we're going to go back to HSA because some of the things I saw back there were very disturbing. I see people come in on stretchers that can look out the crack of the door. They're right in front of me, and they have already been maced. They cut the clothes off these people while they're on the stretcher, and then they roll them into the shower, or they leave them naked in the room and scream all night long, and they're macing them through the food hatch. I've never seen anything like this in my life, the abuse. And one morning at 3 o'clock, I woke up and they maced the guy through the food hatch because he wouldn't get back a cup. I mean, unbelievable. And Dan had me call some people. I've made testimonials on it. But once they found out that I'm using the phone, they took the phone away from me, and I didn't get no personal maintenance. For 60 days, I had no contact with anybody. That's not even allowed in federal prison, let alone supposedly a treatment facility. unbelievable.
Holy
And right now, I went to a cardiologist a month ago, and he regulated my blood pressure. Well, I slipped here, hurt my shoulder, and was not dealing with the pain. I mean, I don't care what. I'm not seeking medical attention, and they haven't done nothing. So what they did is they called my cardiologist that his blood pressure was high. So they upped my blood pressure medicine. And I tell them that I'm in pain. No, they didn't. Well, when I go there, I'll see them, but you don't up someone's blood pressure medicine because they're in pain. You deal with the problem, not fix it with raising my blood pressure medicine. It's and like I told you, I'm going blind in my right eye. It's irreversible. Every month I go in and get shots in my eye just for that day. And this last time I went a week ago, and they're like, they go, it's getting worse. I told the retinal surgeon they're not monitoring my blood pressure, and he actually put it in paperwork that you're not supposed to be on ibuprofen or Tylenol. This place does not care. I've had proper medical my whole life, and it's unbelievable. And I can't even tell my kids because I don't want them to worry. You know, they're all in their 20s, and I don't want them to worry about this kind of stuff. You know, Dad's fighting this battle on his own, and it's unbelievable what I see in young kids, and young kids that maybe messed up when they're juvenile, but now they're trapped here for the rest of life, or people dying once every month. I don't know if anything can be done, but the people don't know about this place. I didn't know about it. I mean, we heard about it, so it was always called the forever, but we never knew that it's a place that was a warehouse. And anybody who's never been in the military, I guarantee you they didn't fight for the violation of civil rights and human rights that this place represents. I've never seen anything like it in my life. And way back in the 70s when cults, people, young rich kids were getting involved in cults, the FBI had to deprogram them. A lot of these people here have program is super bad. They don't know. They're not prepared to they're preparing to death. They're just keeping you at bay. And they all, put it this way, they're all drinking the Kool-Aid, a lot of people. They all have false hopes. That the only person that's doing this about are people like you, Dan Wilson, the coalition, and hopefully this gets out. And people in the Netherlands that are trying to talk to The Hague, but you know, I'm old. Will I make it out of here? I have no idea if I'll ever make it out of here. And it's Minnesota. If anybody says Minnesota doesn't have the death penalty, they're lying, because I'm sitting in it right now.
Oh, God. Bro, they are celebrating. Oh, listen, I'll let you have the floor, man. Go ahead.
I want more to say. We'll do it at another time. I'm trying to give you a breakdown of what I've been dealing with. I've been logging everything down since I've been here. And, you know, people need help. People, it's sad. This is not a treatment facility. It is the microeconomics of Mooselake, which created by legislators that knew their intent was to violate human rights. They did. From Amy Klobuchar to Arnie Carlson to everybody. This place is a mess. The research that Dan's done will prove that, and people need to get on board. It's unbelievable. I've never seen it. And you have a great day, Joshua. Thank you.
You too, man.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Thank you for using GTL.
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of surprised they're not doing experiments on them like the Nazis did. Of course, they still do those experiments now. They just do them on homeless people. Oh my God. They're celebrating pedophilia. Like, I mean, they're ingraining pedophilia in our culture, like in pop culture. And whether it's obvious or not to people, it's there. I mean, I don't know how people can't see it. And these guys are locked up for not even that. Like, some of these people have never been charged. Some of these people made a mistake 30 years ago. You know, and then in other cultures, It's okay for a 13-year-old to marry a 21-year-old. One of the most famous basketball players on the planet, Hall of Famer, Karl Malone, when he was 21, impregnated a 13-year-old. I wonder if this is Daniel.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from
Daniel.
There's his voice.
a client in the Mooselake. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello.
Hello, my friend.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. You are hooked up to a mic, and the floor is yours.
So I want to say, Josh, I love you, man. I love you.
I love you.
And I mean that, and a lot of guys do. I just appreciate, that you do what you're doing. And, a lot of guys are very grateful. The feeling that's kind of circulating the facility right now is similar to the feelings that were happening in the summer of 2021 when we went on protest. And a lot of guys had hope, and man, how important hope is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. So, I want to talk real quick about something specific here. Back in let me see here. We began writing a newsletter in August 2019, called the Ocean Newsletter, which later became the Ocean Ripple Effect Newsletter. And we printed for a couple of years. I think we did about 13 or 14 regular newsletters, but then we would do specials. And just depending on what would happen in the facility, we wanted to report everything. So even if we didn't put it in the monthly newsletter, we'd have specials, or we'd have different publications that were all essentially the same thing, just exposing the corruption that we saw all around us every day. We can never keep up. I'm telling you, it's constant. It never stops. People die as a result, and it just goes on and on and on. And we see deaths all around us, and our frantic to figure out what to do about it all the time. In February, that's actually February 1st, 2022, Russell Hatton and I were finishing up the Ocean Black History Month 2022 special. And I want to read it. I'm going to read it's short. I'm going to read through it. The Ocean Black History Month 2022 special. This Black History Month, we give our respects to those who practice their First Amendment rights to end slavery and to bring awareness to institutional corruption. Speech is often provocative and challenging. That is why it is protected against censorship or punishment. We published our first newsletter in August 2019 to expose the true purpose of this institution. Our efforts have come under attack, but this is to be expected. The events leading to the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863 were triggered by the publication of The Liberator, a newsletter published by William Lloyd Garrison. In his first issue in 1831, Garrison wrote, "I do not wish to think or to speak or to write with moderation. Tell a man whose house is on fire to give a moderate alarm. The earth be not use moderation. I will not retreat a single inch. I will be heard." There was subsequently a major assault on the First Amendment rights of anyone with anti-slavery views. In Georgia, there was a bounty for anyone who could apprehend Garrison. Garrison published The Liberator every week without fail for 35 years until slavery was abolished. But if these efforts to quench the First Amendment were successful, there would be no Black History Month, because this nation would still be a slave nation. The First Amendment is our protection against ignorance, intolerance, and injustice. In 1872, an Ohio man named Julius Tabor, with the help of some friends, got himself committed to the Bloomingdale Asylum with the intent of finding evidence of the alleged abuses of inmates. His findings were published, and as a result, 12 people were released. The Chamber's investigation also led to the reorganization of the staff and administration of the institution, and eventually to changes in lunacy laws. Chambers later wrote the book A Mad World and Its People in 1876. None of this would be possible without the First Amendment. We want to thank our African American community as well as other minority groups who have blazed the trails to show us what true America really looks like. We printed that, and on the same day, Russ and I were pulled into an office and told that we were to cease and desist all printing of all newsletters, including the Black History Month newsletter that I just read. It says nothing about MSOP. It says nothing about revolting or inciting. You heard it. That was word for word, the newsletter, and they said you can't print it. They wouldn't give us a reason. I'm bringing this up a year later because yesterday they had Black History Month here. Black History Month celebration. That was had very weak attendance because the whole thing was watered down because they had a white guy in charge of the Black History Month committee. He decided to work to
Make that make sense.
Yeah, don't get. Let me give you a little bit of background on this one. So, 3 weeks ago, a black friend of mine came to me and said, Dan, you wrote a song. I love it. My buddies love it. We all love it. Will you play the song at Black History Month celebration? I said, I'd be honored. Just give me a time and a date and a place. I'm there. About a week later, another one of my black friends came and asked for another song that I wrote to be presented. So now I'm presenting 2 songs, handpicked by African-American friends of mine. And they say, we want you to do this at Black History Month. I've been asked to do things in the past. I get censored every time. I fight through the BS, and I end up doing it. Sometimes I don't. This time, usually you got to try to, they want you to get the lyrics of these songs approved by staff, but, we don't have to, we get away with not doing that. We'll do that because 9 times out of 10, they just don't want to cooperate. So this time I sent it off, and it came back. Neither one was approved. And this is by a white guy telling me that I can't do it. And at one point, I asked the guy, why can't I do it? He said, well, there's this one line in one of your songs about a white man who gets his girl taken from him by a black man, and that's offensive. And I said, who is that offensive to? He said, he basically said, white people. And I said, Steve, the white guys, maybe you and I get the hell out of the way and let the black guys organize Black History Month. What do you think? I've been asked to do this, and what you're telling me I can't. Am I the only one that's got a problem with the white guy being in charge of Black History Month? I'm just saying. I said, you should be ashamed of yourself. I think you're a racist. And I walked away. That was it. And I was not allowed to present the Black History Month. So, that's par for the course, and, it just drives me nuts, but, it's kind of a funny thing, but it sheds light on a bigger issue, and I hope to get my friend Connor on here today, and he'll kind of elaborate on this, but if we don't have a right to speak up, people die as a result.
That's right.
And I know that sounds crazy, but if you start silencing people, they're going to be afraid to speak out.
That's right.
Or this caretaker is touching me, or my dad is hurting me, or fill in the blank. If people can't say what they got to say, they're going to just take abuse. It's the way it is. I mean, we kind of watered down the importance of the First Amendment in today's media. I don't think we're really scratching the surface of how important it is. You just got off the phone with M. Wallace, a good friend of mine, and he's been writing a lot of complaints about his injuries. I don't know if he told you, but he broke his ankle. They didn't tell him about it. They finally x-rayed it after he pushed for weeks. You got to x-ray my ankle. You got to get it x-rayed. They finally did it, and they handed him a memo through the pill window that said your ankle's broken. They never gave him a cast. They never gave him nothing for it, and now it's all messed up, and it's hobbling. I mean, I had another buddy that this happened to, and they cut his leg off over the same exact thing.
Wow.
And so the point is, now they're saying that he might get put on what's called an IPP, individualized personal plan or something. I don't know, some crap they made up. And essentially, if they do that, it's going to say he can only make so many grievances a week or a month, or maybe none at all. And he won't be allowed to file grievances. If they put him on something like this, they could just completely shut him up, and he won't be able to complain about anything. I mean, they literally want you to be quiet and die slow, like a subordinate. Nothing. That's what they're looking for.
Wow.
So that's kind of what I wanted to cover today, me personally. I'd like to have a couple more guys call you, Joshua. Are you up for that?
Of course.
Awesome.
Well,
Guys have been, they've been, quite the troopers, but you really have, because I know you've been getting back-to-back calls. I appreciate you having that patience.
No, it's all good, man. Yesterday I had no idea what to expect, and I didn't even know who was calling, and it ended up going, wow, this is fun. This is like call-in radio. This is great. So today I came prepared. I didn't, so I'm way more prepared for it today than I was yesterday. Well, man, I'm glad to hear your voice, and I have a bunch of hope, and I really love getting to speak with the natives and hearing, just hearing how their religious freedom has been infringed on, and I just like that. That was unsettling to me. All of your stories are, but it was such a. Yesterday was, completely different than all of the other conversations that we've had from all of the different prisons, the conversations with you. I mean, I really did enjoy yesterday. And of course, you guys today have been great today too, because there's a lot of new stuff that, I have not heard before. So I'm grateful for that.
March 5th, 7th is a 3-day conference in Washington, D.C. And it's like all the organizations we've been working with. A lot of people, we also often say that this is the Shadow Prison because a lot of people don't know about it. But on the flip side of that, there's kind of almost like a hidden subculture of people that have come out of the woodwork the last 10 years or so. Hacksaw, Narsol, Curesort, Women Against Registry, Once Fallen, A Just Future. There's all sorts of organizations that are anti-civil commitment and specifically anti-sex offender civil commitment and anti-sex offender registry. And all of those different groups are supposed to be meeting up in Washington, D.C. for their first annual Teamwork Makes the Dream Work event. And we'll see how it goes, but that's at the big White House, so pretty excited to see how that unfolds, and I'm excited to work with some of those people and see what I can spread the word.
Wow, man. I wish I could go and cover that. That would be cool.
But there'll be another one, I'm sure. And the second thing, real quick, Ocean came together, about 23 of us wrote a draft bill that we're hoping to put into municipal legislation next year. It's going through a couple committees. It went through the Ocean committee, now it's going to go through the $100 million group committee, and then it'll go into the legislature hopefully next year. And, it's going to go through a lot of changes, but, we hope that the number one element that stays intact is abolishment. We're fighting to abolish the entire system. So that's part of why we're getting the word out now. I've been told that it's okay to say that we are drafting legislation. I don't want to say too much more about the ideas behind it. I do want to say this. We are all for sexual assault prevention. It's number one in this entire thing. They are stealing money from effective programs that protect women and children, and they're throwing it away at housing people that are not dangerous. That's what this whole thing is about. It's been proven to be non-effective in terms of preventing sexual violence and protecting the community. It doesn't work. That's a fact. So now we know that, and now we know we're wasting $100 million every year of taxpayer money. It's thrown down the drain, and the most important thing is that there's people getting hurt because of it. That's what if we were spending $100 million to protect.
You have 1 minute remaining.
From sexual violence, I'd be all for it. But there's programs that are 88% effective, and they're getting zero from the state. We could be saving so many lives. We could be saving so many lives, and we're throwing it away at something that just works.
Yeah.
So, thanks, brother. I love you.
I love you. You're an inspiration, dude. Listen, you're an inspiration. You really are. When you get out on the other side of those walls, you're going to do amazing things in the world, bro. Yeah. I can't wait. No. Yeah, man. God bless you, bro. See you, man. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for using GTL.
Mary, if you're listening, and I don't know if you are, but if you are, and I know you're proud of your son, but I'm going to say you should be proud of your son because that guy, man, I think I don't know how many conversations I've had with Daniel at this point, but I mean, it's at least 20. And just, I don't know how he keeps telling me he's just fighting. And like when I talk to Daniel, I'm reminded that I get to fight and I get to keep going. I get to keep believing in what I'm believing for. You know, I feel blessed that I get to do this. I get to hear so many crazy stories from all walks of life. And sometimes it's the most, I don't know if unlikely is the word, but you know, I get to interview like uber successful people that have been all over TV. Interviewed somebody today she's a dame who's been knighted, like celebrities, but it's people like Daniel, people like Jeremiah, Russell. I mean, just gosh, I can't even all of the different stories that I've heard from these guys that are locked in these shadow prisons. They're the most inspiring of all because they are literally given zero hope. I have a hard time hearing from the people that say I have no hope. I mean, that's hard for me to hear. And I think that's more to do with me than it is them, because I remember those days of not having hope. And God, it's a yucky feeling. But these guys, it's not even just them, it's their family too. Talk to Mary and Francis, Jennifer. Some of these family members, they're just like, their fight is inspiring. I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, I remember the insecurity that was going through my head when, going public about having HIV, why I'd been in jail 6 times, going public about being an abuser, being abused, any of the stuff, overdosing, failure, disappointment, and being public about it, and the whole time going, I'm just bringing shame to my family. And I have a lot of respect for the family members that are fighting for their loved ones that are locked up in these shadow prisons, because what that does is look, we live in a judgmental world. People are judgmental. You might as well be yourself, because people are going to judge you anyway. So might as well be judge on something that's true. Like, I wish it didn't take so long for me to figure that out, to be judged. Like, I'm going to be judged no matter what. So I can spend all my time trying to fit in, or I can just be myself, and at least I'm being judged on something that's true. So these family members, I just have respect for them, because they make themselves a target of judgment when they do that. So I love you guys for that.
This is a call from. client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To hear your opinion, please note that your account and any transactions complete with GTL or any of its affiliates are governed by the terms of as a privacy statement.
What is this call?
At www.connectnetwork.com. The terms of use.
I don't know this message.
Live on Facebook 2009. The rate per call from this facility is 5 cents per minute, plus taxes and surcharges. As an example, a 10-minute call would cost 50 cents.
What is this?
Plus taxes and surcharges. You will have up to 15 minutes of talk time. To pay for just this call for a fee of $1.19, plus the cost of the call, press 6. To establish and fund an advanced paid prepaid phone account for future calls, which may include a transaction fee, press 5. We accept deposit amounts.
I don't know what that is. Okay. No idea what just happened there. I think that they wanted me to pay for the call. I think that's what was happening. I hope they call back because that trying to hang up on them. Anyway, so I was saying that like I felt crappy. The shame that I brought on my family for the arrest, and some of my arrests made the newspaper. Some of them made multiple papers around the country. And I just remember thinking that my mom, like, how could she ever love me? It brought shame to their name. And
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from a client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse it, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello. Hey, William, how are you, sir? I'm good. Thank you for calling.
Tell you about my experience and stuff like that. About how to make those. What is it?
I want to hear what you feel led to share. The floor is yours. I don't have questions for you, but if I have one, I'll ask. But this is an opportunity for you to say hello to anyone you want, but also share anything on your heart.
I'd like to say hello to my mom and them out there, my 3 kids out there who missing their father, been locked up since 2007, my brothers and stuff. But pretty much this place is a scam. Like, it's just dressed up as a treatment facility where it's more built like a prison. So on the outside, with the world outside looking in, like a, but they still get it from our family in the world. Like, they're living in the zone. They got lack of diversity. In Minnesota, like, I was forced to take applications for crimes I never even committed because I was so victimized. I never ended up having no type of sex with them. I was accused for the crime. Going through those systems, so I had to fight. So I got locked up in 2007 for helping a guy move because he said his girlfriend had sex with 4 other guys at a party. So I'm like, cool, I kind of know him. I ended up helping him move all the stuff in the car, couldn't get. And like I said, we was already drinking and stuff like that. He was already mad and drunk. So people went to drop the stuff back, came back, and he ended up accusing me of trying to have sex with the girl too. So I'm like, what the hell?
Wow.
Right. So I ended up in the rest because I had a first offense like that, which was the first one. I never had sex with victimized too. They were just underage, like I said. They went home late and they accused, playing around and stuff, but like no cases, the thing is, no sex was involved. It was offense where somebody accused you of something, you got to go through the system and fight it. So that one I said 8 months took a deal, so these people are going to kind of hook you up. So the second, the one that the dude was doing because when I was having a girl, I'm in the county because I got arrested April 8, 2000, and I'm fighting the whole case because I'm going to college now. Like I said, I never had sex with this person or victimized. Like I said, he accused because the person herself been accused because, like I said, we was drinking and drunk and stuff like that. And like I said, but he never said I had sex with him. So the boyfriend he was already married. So long story short, I was just going through the motions of going through court. I'm like, now I won't go to trial from 2008, April 2008. But like, like 2 months in, my lawyer just tell me, hey, Mr. Cardinal, you ain't gonna have people of color on your jury. I'm like, what they gonna see? I ain't do this crime. So I'm like, I'm still going to trial. Like, they trying to scare me. So I'm like, all right. And I could keep going. And almost closer to the trial date, because they was like in the recession around that time, around 2009. I got locked up on some money for their budget. The judge, he stopped me. I told the lady stop fighting. He's like, Mr. Canard, you ain't gonna have people of color on your jury. I'm like, oh shit, I know what y'all trying to say now. Basically, I'm SOL if I go or don't go. So I end up taking the alpha fee. And I'm not admitted to this crime. I know if I go to trial and lose, I'll be in 25 years. So as long as I did my prison time. But even at the scene of the crime, they ain't had nothing to arrest me, so I was wrongfully committed. Arrested anyway, because they just came. They like, hey, you was free to go anytime you want. But they never let me go. They all put a probation hold on me. I'm like, hey, I'll come down to the police station at noon. Drop these bikes and stuff off. Like, oh, no, just come down there and make your statement. I'm like, I made a statement there. Y'all told me I was free to go. I ain't had no handcuffs, though. So they just held me falsely. So didn't read me no rights or nothing. But this place too, like I said, so I'm already mad about that, by the lack of diversity, biases of the justice system. Here, they got lack of diversity. They said black men are twice as likely to get civil committed than their white counterparts. Only one black man has ever received full discharge from MSOP. The institution opened in 1994. So Minnesota is made up of 6% black people. Made up of 12% African American people are targeted for commitment. So with that saying, like when you bring up that lack of diversity, because they don't got no blacks out here, that they from Africa, not from our environment. So, because me personally, I'm from New Orleans, I'm not even from it, so I only came up here to raise my kids when I was 18. So let's see, but yeah, when we bring up the diversity and maybe them being racist, they start retaliating and can falsify these documents, even tiaras, even just me being from the South trying to talk to them. They're like, oh, you're trying to cross our boundaries, but so they're not really dealing with us. So I'm like, then next thing you know, you got all type of write-ups, feedback from you holding them accountable. So they try to silence your voice. But like I said, I was raised Rastafarian, and that's like they got the wrong person where I stand up for oppression and the down, like John Lewis caused the trouble. But other than that, it's frustrating. Like I said, the lack of transparency, they keep us away from like video visits where we can have tablets where our family could send us pictures. But you guys, people like in the joint like R. Kelly and even next door DOC making album on their facility. Like I said, nobody's developed pictures no more. So in order for me to get pictures from my family way in New Orleans, they got to develop pictures that take time. and we still living in snail mail days where we sending checks and stuff like that. But like I said, they do not have no representation for African Americans here, so it's hard for them to understand us. And when we do something that's not a norm where we got to make them feel comfortable, they get back at us. Next thing you know, like I said, in these reports and documents how they want to make it like people on here. Like I said, I know for a fact I never had sex with nobody where the person I victimized, where I raped somebody. There was an accusation that got in. Like I said, you give up hope and want to fight the system, just having, giving them ammunition. So, it's frustrating though. Like I said, to see a black person is like seeing a unicorn. They come in here, but they don't last that long because among their co-workers, they get mistreated. They call the N-word or some clients call them the N-word. Like I said, you outnumber them. So, so the staff here, they got some cool now, all of them, but they just doing the job. But sometimes, I need somebody who understands me for me instead of me turning to, yes, sir, boss, I'll make you feel comfortable. Let me challenge you through it. That's what certain black people got to do to get out of here. And I don't think that's the real me treatment. If you think I belong here, which I feel I personally don't, because I'm not thinking of harming anybody out there in the world. I'm a father, got 3 beautiful kids, 2 sons and a daughter, and I want to get out there and see them. So, and that's what makes me do, because even being accused, I'm like, hey, what made me to that line of being accused of them? But I said, I know for no person that I never had no type of penetration or penile penetration. None of the people that are victimized. And my first thing, you even ask the people about it, because I was in the deals and some guys called it because some dude been there for some child molestation charge. I'm like, nah, my victim was an adult, so they ended up calling the girl KP, and she was like, nah, nothing happened. Such a good guy. Don't do nothing to him when I was in worry. So I ended up having to fight a guy in the jail for false accusation. So, then the guy, he was part of my circle. He's like, damn, Canard, she sounds like she likes you. So if you victimize somebody, nobody would pick up for you like that after you prove that false accusation. So I said the justice system is crazy though. So since I've been locked up trying to go to the Innocent Project, the ACL2, I wrote Obama when he was in office. I wrote President Biden, so I'm still fighting my innocence. But like I said, you know how that goes. I'm not rich, I don't got no money, so but I'm gonna come up with like this wrongfully arrest thing too, convicted, because like I said, they didn't even let me go at the crime after they told me I wasn't detained under arrest, because they said I ain't do nothing. So they ain't read no writing. I was intoxicated when they were taking my statement. Then after they took me, they made me sober up for a while before they took the blood test to make it seem like I was sober enough to have given the first.
Oh.
Put all that out. Yeah, it's crazy.
Hey, let me ask you something. I mean, literally, maybe the only African American that's in there. I mean, there's the percentages. Basically, you are definitely in the minority there, and the way that you've been treated, the way that you see other people treated. Which, I mean, it's not like anyone's getting a whole lot of special treatment there, but how does that make you feel? Like, I mean, again, you're isolated in more ways that you're isolated in ways that other people there are not. How does that make you feel?
Terrified, because like I said, trying to tell me something I'm not. Like they when they're working with the client, like I said, they'll go to, like I said, because I'm a smart man. My IQ is like 170. So I took introduction to psychology, and they said something like how opposites don't attack with people to their own kind. So I don't look like them, and I don't look like the grandson. Nobody else, who they might be dating growing up, their father or their their grandfather. So when the other clients who look like them, they go to them and be working with them to get out or get them their fly passes, but looking different when you try to talk. I'm like, you're supposed to be a therapist, no out of your body. Like I said, but I don't got no representation of black people here, because literally it might sound stupid to some, but I was in group talk, giving somebody that kind of help. You know, I talk slang sometimes. I'm like, yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah.
So another therapist, did you talk about feelings? I'm like, what the fuck? I got scared. Like, no, I was saying I understand. But he explained it to us. So to fast forward, you know, they end up having a black clinician, you know, working for a while. Like I said, they don't last long. There's still a couple of black people come through here, but they end up quitting. But like I said, they're getting invited to the Thanksgiving dinner the other co-workers doing. So it was a facilitator named Felicia. And I'm like, yeah, Felicia, I'm glad you work here, man. I'm talking about it's like the best thing. I'm very serious. I'm about to cheer up. So it's like going to her. She's like, all right, I feel you. I'm like, what the? Like, so yeah, I feel you. And I'm like, all right. So there's the simple stuff like that where people talk and understand how talking and lingo. People here do not understand it. They want you to be, oh, yes, come, this is fabricastic.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And he said, like, it's like the movie Get Out. Because look back, there's no act back. That's what they're trying to turn up in order for us to get out. So they'll change your brain. You ain't gonna be you no more once you get out of here. So even just a Black History, I try to put a Black History event together, which I had to do twice. They kept on obstacles in my way, but like I said, I had to put myself in. It turned out great, but they had all types of stuff. They were trying to sabotage, not trying to allow a person to think in what's going to make the administration feel comfortable. I'm like, nah, we trying to educate y'all to understand us. They try to sabotage down. It was frustrating. We didn't hit it, but like I said, God will went through. But it's all my time, though. I don't know if you in the future itself because that calls, but I got to call my kid for her birthday.
The next time you call me, I'll accept a call.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I didn't get that out. Dadgummit. Wow. See, it's different for me, I would think, because I would be excited if I walked into a place and I was the minority. I'm wired that way. That said, sometimes that, you know, depending on the crowd, may not be the safest idea. But the way that I'm wired, you know, I'm typically drawn to people that look different than me. I think white people are boring most of the time. I mean, I'm not racist. I'm just saying, like, I like, you know, culture, and white people have culture. I don't even know. And I'm not a white apologist either. It just, like, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. And the difference is, I think, is that, you know, African Americans have been the minority for a long time, and they've dealt with a lot of things, at least in my lifetime, that I never have had to. And of course, the history that I know that's actually true, like, I would imagine that that's gotta suck for him. Because it is. We are different culturally. Again, white people don't really have a culture. We steal it from black people. We stole rock and roll. We stole the blues. We stole fashion. We stole rap. We steal everything, I think. That's pretty much what we do. We steal countries' land. We steal countries' resources. Of course, I know who's really pulling those strings, but I'm not going to say that one out loud. Oh, my God. I would imagine that that is very challenging for him and awkward, because half the people in that room probably have no clue what it's like to be him. And I'm sure that, you know, that can happen interchangeably with the Native Americans, but the Native Americans have a bigger representation there. But even they culturally are a little bit different. I don't think that all tribe rules, laws, traditions are the same. I mean, they're kind of similar, but I wouldn't imagine that they're exact. Man. Try to put myself in other people's shoes as much as possible. And I mean, I find that to be the easiest way to have compassion. Compassion is something I've learned because and empathy and all those things. Because I had to learn all that. It's part of my healing, part of growing. Learning all of that helped me learn to love and, love myself, love others. Started with loving my wife and loving our 2 kids, and through that I've been able to learn how to love other people, like genuinely love them, not hey, I love you, buddy, like I love Daniel. We've never met in person, but I mean, my goodness, I can't. We've had so many. All of our phone calls are typically in 15-minute increments, but every conversation's meaningful and it matters. We have another call.
Hello, this is a free call from a client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this free call, press 0. To refuse this free call, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello?
Did you say your name was Yo?
No, my name is Rod.
Did you just say Yo?
Yeah, when I first got that as a reference to, so people who I know that know me would just know that it's me.
I love that. Oh, perfect. I love it. Okay. Well, listen, man, the floor is yours. Say hi to anyone you want and share whatever's on your heart.
Well, no, I got my good buddy Dan Wilson, and there's a couple of pieces that I would just like to simply read, and I guess we can go from there.
Perfect.
The first thing is black men are twice as likely to get civilly committed than their white counterparts, and only one black man has ever received full discharge from MSOP. Since the opened in 1984, Minnesota is made up of 6% black people. MSOP is made up of 12% black people. Talk about your experience here. So my experience here, at first, it was questionable. I really didn't know what was going on. I knew that I was being petitioned for civil commitment under a medical approach. Come to find out, they changed variances here, and now it's a treatment approach, more specifically a psychoeducational approach that goes against the medical model. We're civilly committed to aspects that are upheld in Minnesota court, dangerousness, and then also current presentation of a mental disorder. That part's not being achieved, though. Individuals here, pretty much about 90% of the clients don't have a current presentation of their applied mental disorder in anything they so on January 3rd, a group of individuals got together and wore End MSOP t-shirts. This is my with that. I got off work at 8:20. I went to my unit and I went to our building. Once there, I stayed the phone while doing with the other clients until about 10. After walking back to the unit, I went to my room. I figured I had time until count, so I went out to the computer to file and fill out a print form GA request application for assistance in my county. I went to the staff desk to retrieve the application being printed off of the computer. And when I asked SCL, which is the council, Jessica Lake, or she said, you can go to your room because of the shirt you're wearing. Calmly stating you are not going to infringe on my constitutional right. Count was called, so I went to my room anyway. Once count cleared, I put my headphones on and left my room. It got pro slider doors, which is pretty much just outside of the unit. I was approached by street counsel Carol. I could not hear what she was saying because I had my headphones on, but I assumed something happened where they closed off the hallway for passing over by the town hall. So I went a roundabout. I went to go outside, and once I got to the main door for the yard, it was locked. So I turned around, and there he was sitting there. Stated that I had to take the shirt off, or every time I left the unit, I would receive CPR, which is basically a behavior expectation report, and then there's detention.
You have 1 minute remaining.
That, I said, okay, that is fine, I left. I made it by the mail room door and was signaled by staff to come over. They basically said that I had to take the shirt off or I was going to be placed in HSA. I said, you're not going to infringe on my rights. I went and sat down by the wall and placed my palm face up and took me to HSA. They cut my clothes off my body. They groped me about 6 different times, and then left me on the cold, hard floor. Left me for about 24 hours. I brought back to my unit. I lost my job. I lost press council member, all for wearing a t-shirt. Do you mind if I call back?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I don't mind at all.
All right. Thanks.
All right, man.
Thank you for using GTL.
I don't even know what to say. Like, the more stories like this I hear, the more I'm reminded of how fortunate I am to not be in prison. All right, he's back.
Hello, this is a free call from
Yo,
client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Yo!
yo,
Continue, my friend. Yeah, so then after all of that, like I said, I lost my job. I lost my job. I lost the crest council. I proceeded RS3 for 10 days, which is basically restricted to my room, except for 10 minutes on top of the hour for each hour. 30 minutes for hygiene. I can go and get meals from the town hall. So that's pretty much it. Then there was also repercussions from my group. When I went to my group and I expressed how I felt, and I told each person in that group we all have a civil duty as Americans. Whether we know it or not, we took an oath to uphold that Constitution, democracy. We cherished it. We earned it. Our forefathers earned it. And they kept trying to ridicule me and say that I was doing things wrong and I didn't have empathy for anybody. And I just couldn't believe how Berglan the people here are. I believe that is a big problem, a huge problem here. We lack unity, and it's our own doing, even in society. The acceptable norm is greed over everything else. Most people would expect to get something to do anything, and that's the problem. Also, a lot of people here have lost hope. There's not hope because they've done the program. Any approach is without merit because the people who run this place are corrupt to a point where it's non-justifiable why they keep people here. Sure, I'm dangerous. Sure, I abuse society's trust. I understand that. But there's a thing called rehabilitation, and that rehabilitation is one of the aspects for going to prison here in the state of Minnesota. When I went to prison, I became rehabilitated. I understood and recognized that I have an identity. I'm not just a black man. I have a culture. I have a nationality. I have a religion. And those aspects allow a person to recognize and acknowledge their higher self. Each person has a lower self and a higher self. Those are all counterparts of my higher self. The lower self of me, the drug, sexual offense, victimization, and any crime that I have committed. Recognizing the lower self allows you to appreciate and ascend to your higher self. And I achieve that. I know that I'm worth more than just using drugs, selling drugs, offending against hurting. I know that. I've recognized my people. And to no prevail. This place will not let me out. I can talk to my blue on the bench. The disorders that they have attached to me are based off of static factors and historic factors. There's no current patient that I develop on me here that justifies them still applying that disorder to my name, which binds my body to MSOP. And it's unfortunate because essentially I'm just a person who has a criminal record, more specifically a person with a criminal record abusing people sexually. So society's painted pictures through media and propaganda that sex offending is unbelievably bad and there's no hope for them, and that's not true because I am the proof of that. And what happens when you have congested material and you feed that to an entire population?
You have 1 minute remaining.
Entire civilization. You get the concepts where hate and fear defeat entirely. And what that does is it causes people to do harsh things, things out of impulse, as funny as that is. And that's why you got places like this. It's unfortunate. There's value here because the treatment of the material they use is valuable, but the way it's being administered is completely illegal and unbelievably wrong. And I don't support it, and I wish that we could be free.
Well, man, I'm going to do my part to help get this message out to all that will listen. I'm rooting for you. I love your way of being. I love your attitude. I love your mindset. And I'm rooting for you, man. I really am.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Do you have any last words? Amen, bro. Amen. All right, I'm praying for you. And I don't know if anyone else is calling. Probably should have asked, but I like his attitude. And he gets it. He didn't make excuses. I just thought he was honest. I appreciate that. I'm rooting for him too.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from a client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Robert Smith, Berglan.
Hi, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Just talking to Mr. Wilson, Dan Wilson with Ocean, and he gave me this number to call, and ready to roll whenever you're ready.
Well, we're recording, and the floor is yours. You can say hi to whoever you want. Literally, you just share what's on your heart. Say hi to who you want. Say whatever you feel led to.
Great. So I guess I thought I kind of made a little list of everything that kind of flowed. It was flowing. So my name is Robert Smith, and I'm part of Ocean organization, and I have a tab on the Ocean organization, and that's the voiceofocean.net, and my tab is Robert L. Smith. And in that you will find just like say MSOP. I'm currently 59 years old, and I'll be 60 in July, and I'm so concerned because of my age, here, environment,
I arrived here at MSOP on December 30th, 2011. My course commitment date was January 25th, 2012. So approximate start date of treatment was September 2012. I advanced to phase 2 of a 3-phase program on March 31st, 2013. So from then to now, I'm still currently in phase 2. 11 years later, I'm in the same phase. So treatment dates have not progressed. In addition to that, I will say that I was sexually assaulted by a female security counselor that worked here, and they didn't deem me as being a patient. Somehow they feel like I'm responsible for that. I'm incarcerated, no way out, and it was person of authority, and there's a lot of dynamic variables to that. But that case is now pending the civil lawsuit against the state of Minnesota as we speak. So I've been being punished for that. This is part of the reason I haven't progressed in treatment for the last 5+ years. In this program, part of the itinerary of courses that are expected for one to do to mitigate dynamic risk factors are a polygraph. So I've done a polygraph. The last one was 2019. Polygraph prior to that was 2018. I have a assessment of sexual arousal done 2016. Polygraph 2014 with the full disclosure of all offenses that are known, unknown, everything for fidelity, which is being forthcoming and truthful. And one was done in 2013. So over the course of all these years, we tested on all of those tests, no significant responses, no failures, no anomalies to the physiological testing. So I have no not person, not aroused and triggered or audio, video, or any of that. Also, I would like to add that I did a Minnesota personality MPI inventory too. It's a million clinical multi-axis inventory 3. And so all of these things I've done and personality tests, I expect it to be here at this point. And I reached what I call, and what is deemed by law, is called maximum treatment benefit. And that was something said in the clause that's pending in federal court right now. A circuit Department of Justice has made us I agree to support us, the plaintiffs, for being held here for definitive detention. And it's punitive. We can't be housed like this as a one-size-fits-all program. Guys that are suffering from different diagnoses, some mental, some sexual, some pedophilia, paraphilia. They don't know who belongs in what phase of treatment and how to separate the group. Basically, this is a money pit. They're just dumping people here, and they're making a lot of money. And here I also have, for the majority of my time here, my therapeutic experience has lacked compassionate care, human factor, to accountability, vulnerability, and self-exposure. I broke myself down into consistency and resilience. I'm building my self-esteem. Once again, this is why I'm at the point of needing reintegration, not further treatment. And I got my...
No, go ahead.
Okay. And just, I got like a little breakdown of treatment curriculum. This was, I printed this off in 2020. So as of then, I've got approximately, psychoeducational modules here. I've got over 846 hours of psychoeducational modules. Those modules are designed to mitigate dynamic risk factors. So that's all you can do with the psychoeducation. Maybe looking at reflecting where you were psychologically, mentally at the time of the offense. What here was our work dynamic thing, relationship stability, with our stress reducing on drugs, alcohol, all those type of things. It makes sense to me, neuroplasticity, to make new channels, new ways of thinking, to reflect back, to be able to solve those problems here in the present and do something different in the present. And in that way, I can kind of speak to what the future looks like. In my understanding, I'm here for current observable behavior. If any of those diagnoses are presenting themselves now, they are not. And then volitional control at all times. I don't fight. Really, I don't break any rules. This place is more punitive than it is a forensic treatment setting. From the time I wake up in the AM, I gotta worry, am I doing anything that's a rule and practice? Am I getting too many butters, too much alcohol? Am I saying things that are perceived in context and conversation that could be deemed a boundary violation? So it's went beyond treatment into what is just punitive and preventative detention. Combined MSOP programming hours, this is dated October 14, 2020. We're in 2023 now. At that time, it was 3,857 hours. There's no more taxpayers are paying for all of this. At this point, it's detrimental to my psyche because it's having an adverse effect. What apprehensive about being around the security and clinical staff here. And I guess it's causing, at one time, back in 2016, 2017, mental stress and hopelessness. Psychoeducational modules, there are 34, and I'm taking those over and over so many times. I've got like 4 to 8 with press play retreat, which they're doing with it now. And move on along to this. Since I've been here, I had 16 different therapists, average of probably 18 months per therapist. They really don't care if not me, it's just staff availability, same positions, they stratify, they go up to higher positions in here. It's all about money. They leave, they come back. To a different unit, they get a different therapist. They're not really qualified to do specific therapy. This place is not certified, it's not recognized as let's say a certified sex program by the APA, American Psychiatric Association. So they're not even part of it. These people here are considered facilitators. I have a GAT score. They're like educational scores where they do testing like reading, writing, comprehension are 12.9 plus. Some of them are 13.0. My educational background, I'm a welder by trade, 4.5 years. I'm certified through Century College, White Bear, Minnesota. I'm a carpenter. I'm an architectural draftsman, 2 levels. My IQ is the word I'm looking for. I'm rambling. It's somewhere I don't even know. They don't even know for sure. I'm African American, so from their account with their IQ test, somewhere around 105. I'm in the average upper range of the average on IQ test. I think relatively for my demographic, being African American from North Minneapolis, I would think it'd be more than that, more pliable than most people. They come from where I come from. It's easier for me to gainfully employed because of going to school and work and things like that. I'm taking psychology, sociology, fine arts, political science. I am not mentally ill. I do not suffer from a sexual diagnosis, and I can't find my way out of it. Like it has been here definitely. But yes, I got a pretty nice, educational background. I could function in society and compete in society, thrive, just like anyone else could. My last felony, Vic, was 2003, 20 years ago. So then they used a thing called DSM-5, Diagnostic Statistical Manual of Mental Illnesses, GAP score 70, that's really high global area of function, what GAP means. Some of the psychologists here have an 80, I have a 70, right under them, a 70 to function. This environment is allowing me to thrive. It said that it was fearful or perceived that I could be compensated in a while being in this type of setting and not able to thrive and get out and do things that I'm trying to do academically and through vocational colleges. So I'm coming through these papers as I go. If there's anything else that I may have missed. Diagnostic criteria. I can have it here. Clarified definition of therapeutic. There must be clear specifiable mode of sexual gratification
there must be evidence of a pattern of arousal in response to this even mode of gratification that is reoccurring and intense and occurs over a period of at least 6 months. Most of the guys here do not meet that criteria. I certainly do not, and I can speak for, I would say, 95% of the population here do not meet that criteria. We quoted law, like I said, we're in the 8th Circuit, and of note is Sean Sullivan claiming for the government of the United States of America. It was decided the High Court of Justice Bench Division, Royal Court, over in London in 2012. It would not send Sean Sullivan back to America because they were afraid he would wind up in Minnesota in that social sex offender program, which was a violation of human rights of indeterminate to recognize and not treat them in some place where you treat someone and release them for mental illness, treat them and reintegrate the person at some point. If I'm here talking to you like I'm talking to you now, unless I have my full faculty flowing, news going, I don't sound mentally ill to myself. I don't.
No, you sound great, actually. I'm sitting there going, I would hire you.
And I got a grant that are more advanced in America, a religious organization here with civic responsibility to the younger guys, like kind of a grant that makes and does that civic responsibility, getting license, voting, being citizens, character, what I'm working on here now to better myself. And let me say this to you too, Paul, I have here. I was just thinking about the most costly form of punishment taken away from society, the money that are used to educate the youth through better schooling, healthcare system, and infrastructure highways. They're spending it here, wasting money, taxpayer dollars for what we might do in the future. And in this area here, nickel, iron ore, and gold mine. This is this area up here, the gold mine for of those mandated reporters that are willing to turn a blind eye on the things they just revealed. But this is ridiculous. Oh, wow. Any questions? Can I cover?
Yeah, I actually, I would like to know what, like, I mean, for all the crazy that you have to do, what's keeping your spirit so high?
So for that, doing the right thing, and I'm not Stockholm syndrome. I didn't buy into that. I don't empathize with my temper. I'm advocating for myself, and I do it at a disadvantage. That's what my spirit high. I know I'm correct, and I know I'm doing the things I need to do to atone. And with that, I feel, my complacence comes from, I know I have atoned for my past. So that's me. You need me to call back? Are we good? Or I can.
No, if you have more you want to say, you can call back.
More, maybe about 5 more minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I'll call you right back.
Yes, sir. Bye. I like that guy. I like him. Wow.
The elements of it are traumatic situations, which they've caused for me, that isolating me from my family and taking me out of my demographic, Minneapolis, the inner city, and bringing me up into these woods up here. I have nobody I can contact, any religious organizations, civil organizations. These phones are monitored. We can't call straight through. We don't have local news, so I can't live vicariously through the news and contact and meet people. So I'm isolated. Then they indoctrinate me and make me think. I told the staff here they have 1,000 by proxy, and they're like, "Whoa, Robert, what are you saying? You know what you're saying?" Sure, I do, and so do you. What I'm saying is that you have an illness, and your illness is grief. You want money, and you need it to look like I'm mentally ill. You need me to be in concert with you, like you're and working with me. I'm capable of learning on my own and obtaining information on my own, controlling myself, and I'm not going to play this melody, this melee with you. And then, if I seem like I'm indoctrinated, I pretend normal, then they'll reward me. And that's what the privilege is, the tier levels, they give accolades, community meetings. So, no, I'm not subscribed to that. You're not going to do me that way. So I'm not a favorable person around them. But what I have done is I've done the whole program, done everything I need to do, done all the testing. And my number here, if anybody listens later, that would like to contact me and I can go a little deeper, it's 218-351-900. And my voice box number is 9139. Leave a message for me. And then I call their ID, get the number, get the message, call back, write, correspond. I can send informational packages about myself, about the program. And yeah, I think that's about it. And then, like I was saying about the program, they just do a lot of, you can't punish patients. It's probably another part I need to touch on. Are these clients or they criminals? We talked to my conscience the first time I saw a person strapped to a gurney and taken to units of isolation to prison or forensic treatment facility. So the populace is totally different and not punish patients. And this is punishment 24/7 through deprivation, bullying, Stockholm syndrome, the fear of repetitive criticism is psychological battering, the hopelessness and the omissions that the clinical staff are leaving out by not reporting things that they should be doing. They're mandated reporters and Potemkin Village. It's a movie set and a stage set, and they're lying to the public to get legislative funding, making it that we are the worst of the worst, and in fact, we're probably the most well-behaved people in penal institutions anywhere in America. And with that, I think I've said a whole lot.
Well, go ahead.
No doubt.
Okay. Well, listen, do you want to, I know that you gave, if you want to say any last words to anyone specific, anything you want to do, man, like you can take advantage of this time.
No, what I was doing, I was just hoping that some blog would hear me podcast that is a clinical psychologist, forensic psychologist. I really, really need help to be able to sit down and have an interview. Everything they charge is $5,000 here. We don't make that kind of money. We make $5 an hour. We got to buy our freedom, and we got to employ people that are non-affiliated with special review boards or CAP, commitment appeals panels. And if we bring our own non-affiliated forensic psychologists in, and then they go through the SAPROM scores and the dynamic risk scores, static risk scores, all these actuarial tools, and that person deems that I've reached maximum treatment benefit here, then I qualify for a lesser restrictive alternative. But right now, I'll die. Steps up and say, well, hey, we'll do this pro bono, or we'll do this at maybe a cut rate for this guy here. You know, other than that, I'll die here. And I haven't had discipline really in like 3 years. Haven't even been in trouble. I try to be a good person, and I'm just trying to appeal to anybody in society that could help me and be an advocate to me with housing, with jobs, because I could put together a relapse on provisional discharge plan that people can't just pull apart very easily. If I have housing, if I have a church pastor backing me, if I have someone willing to employ me because I'm a welder, if I have someone who is interested, clinical psychologist, or someone that's a therapist wanting to interact with me, correspond with me, being advocacy. These are the things that we need to address and dismantle this program, this outside intervention, people keeping an eye on this place, because without society keeping an eye on them, these people are rolling around, they're not accountable, and they're just duping society. They're getting free money for nothing. And yeah, I was really excited to make this call today.
Well, I'm glad that you did.
Feels like, feels like without this, I'm gonna sit here and die. And I hope that possibly we have another podcast like this, and probably hook up, do this again.
Yeah, you guys are always listen. I'm here to support you all any way I can, and if this is the one way I get to do it, then so be it. I am. You do a great job in representing this cause, and you're another person I'm rooting for, because I believe that once you get outside of those walls, you're going to do great things for the world, man. You really are.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And appreciate it. And that goes for you too. If you would like to, leave me a message up there, anybody, anytime, 218-351-1900, extension 91339. That would make my day. Sure. Somebody, correspond, make a friend, cut everybody off from, even family is like, that they're giving up, and that's like, wow. So,
Well,
I'm still trying.
you can keep my number as well, and if you ever just need to talk, don't hesitate to reach out. I mean, I'm not always available, but I will always, if I'm available and the phone rings, I will answer it. Especially from this number, because I get calls from there all the time. So if you ever need to chat, don't hesitate to reach out, man.
Okay, appreciate it very, very much. Everybody's listening. Thank you very much for listening.
God bless you, bro. Is anyone else calling? Do you know?
Yeah,
All right. Bye-bye.
I'm just going to put somebody on here right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate you. You too. We'll be right back.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from a client at the Mooselake Secure Treatment Facility. Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello?
Hi. Who am I speaking with? Hi, this is Joshua. Welcome. The floor is yours. Say hi to whoever you want. Share whatever's on your heart.
About the program and whatnot. And my stay here, I guess, when things were triggered in 2008, the judge said that I was here for 18 to 24 months. And that is clearly has not been the case. As far as this process is just, it's a very frustrating process being here and trying to go through this program, but it is actually court in and court out. And I think they changed primary therapists a little bit too much. But overall, this program has not been entirely bad for me, because I've learned a lot here. But I guess if it goes to, as far as when you learn what you learned and when you're demonstrating this, then it gets to the point where they don't want to let you go. And that's really my main problem with this program. But the material, the things I've learned has been good. I hate that I miss my family. I lost 4 uncles through COVID. I'm sorry, what was that?
I didn't say anything.
Okay. And there's 4 uncles through COVID, and really would like to unite with my family.
Well, I can imagine, man. I can't, can you talk about like what visitation is like?
It's very simple. When I first got here, it was not like that. I could order a pizza or I could order Subway sandwiches, and I could with my family in 2008, 2009, where this was permitted to happen. Now it's just nothing like that whatsoever. And it's actually more like DLC. So visiting is not as comfortable as I would like it if I'm not supposed to be locked up. And once the COVID hit, I guess visiting has been a lot harder. But it's still, I guess it's a very frustrating process, because the guards, I mean, they're not in your business, but they kind of are.
Hmm.
So it's not an ideal situation for visiting.
What's it been like not having real like human contact as far as, because from what I understand, you're hugging and things like that are not exactly allowed. So, I mean, as a human being, we want to hold hands, we want to hug, we want to, like, what is that like not being able to do?
I mean, I can take people's hands and I can do that type of stuff. But as far as like grandpa, that's something that I don't think about because I don't have an option there. They permitted somewhat more when we're doing a memorial service to somebody who passed away. Then people have been hugging each other, patting each other on the back. But other than that, it's really not. It's not an ideal behavior to have in here in this program. I just think that, like I said, if they put more energy in it. If once someone has owned their behaviors and displayed that things are going to be different, that they just don't want to let you go into that point.
Golly.
But yeah, it's difficult, and like I said, I try typically not to think about it too much.
Yeah, I can understand why. And I apologize if me asking that brings up anything for you. I just was genuinely curious.
No, it's a sad reality that I'm bringing to the forefront, and if it helps our situation, then more power to it. But no, my biggest thing is just getting back to my family and my kids and back to society.
Yeah.
So, as far as the questions go, if you don't know these things, then by all means, if I can do anything to help you with that, that's what I want to do.
No, I've just never asked that question before, and I was curious because I after all of this, the last 2 days have been 2 hours each day, and everything I've been hearing, I wanted to literally reach the phone and give all y'all a hug, and then you talking just made me like I don't know. I just felt led to ask that question because wow, yeah, it's just like the things that we take for granted on the outside is it's adding up pretty quickly right now. So.
I appreciate you saying that and for your sentiment. But yeah, I just hear this. We're like high priced farm animals, and they get money off of us. To your point, I'll bring this up. There's a thing before COVID where I support people that came through and they honked their horns in the parking lot of this facility. And it just, it was like maybe 12 cars that were just driving through and they honked their horn. And just support of, if you know you're there with him, they kind of locked the facility down and made everybody like close the yards and made us all come inside. And we could still hear the honking. And they suggested people not just drive too. But then a week later, they're biased because we think that we're still actively being criminals. So they say, well, whoever these guys support them are actively criminals. So then they put concrete barriers up thinking that our family members were going to ram the gates to get us out of here. That's how they think. And it's frustrating because no one's thought like that but people.
Wow.
So just to get an idea of how we're trusted or how we're looked at, it's frustrating because they think that we're the same as we were 20 years ago when this event happened.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. And their hold-up is because of that. And what they don't want to recognize is that was a behavior. That's not who I am. And they making it like who you are. And trying to convince them to not think of us like that is near impossible.
Wow, man. How do you keep your spirits up? Like what keeps you going?
Oh God, I know that there's something better for me, and there's something better for me in the line waiting, and I had to go through this because I wasn't listening to him before. When I got out of prison, I married this lady, beautiful lady. We had 2 kids together, and we weren't living paycheck to paycheck in a nice neighborhood. I bought her a car. We had 3 cars and for 2 people, and I was doing very well. And then I that for granted, and I hate that I ignored what I was supposed to be doing out there to begin with. So then this is a benefit. I look at it like a benefit because I wasn't earning anything, and I'm an idiot for being in this position. So I just look at like there's better for me out there to come, and this won't be the end as far as I look at that. And I pray and I meditate daily, and think about what I want to do out there opposed to what I'm doing here now.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. That's probably the most inspiring thing I've heard in the last 2 days. I love that.
That works with me. And like I said, I'm really blessed by to have the support that I have. My church and my mom and my family is just, I'm truly blessed, and I'm grateful that I still have that after all these many years and after my criminal behavior that I have this. So it's very helpful to know that, and it just I'm more inspired than that.
Wow, man, that's encouraging. God bless you, man. I really just God bless you. And I'm rooting for you too. I've said that to end almost every call so far, but I mean, I'm just blown away with your character, your resolve, and the fact just your spirit is so strong in such a dire situation. God bless you, man.
Thank you, my brother. I'm gonna look at fitting this type of next time is like these are just the lowest of the lowest, and it's unfortunate because you get a drug dealer that can be just as detrimental to society as people that commit sex offenses.
Yeah.
But now you protect the public, but you have guys that nobody ever brought a gun to my school. Never. I've never even seen a knife at my school. But now they bring these guns and they're shooting up all kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You look at the former president who had several effective acts that was brought against him. Keith Ellison had stuff brought against him, sexual allegations. Al Franken, one of the senators of Minnesota, had sex brought against him. But again, they need people close attention to have to behave. It's not who this person really is.
Yeah.
And they, for some reason, they don't want to separate them because now they have something to put people down for and just keep them. Now, that's why we really can't get the help because, there are people that, as they say, they're sex offenders. Opposed to there are people that are in a very bad, unfortunate situation. So when we put that label on it, that's just, we don't care about them. We'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars a year to keep them there, where that money could be going other places. I know when this Mooselake area flooded, and it was like some years ago, and the surrounding area flooded, they brought in sandbags, and a bunch of people filled those sandbags up and then helped the public. I don't know if that made the news that we did that.
No, I don't watch the news. That crap's poison, so I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I don't like being lied to, man. They lie all the time. Oh.
But yeah, thank you for your attention and your willingness to want to help us. It's very unfortunate. We're trying a whole lot of work and that was so I appreciate it.
Right.
And I hope that this helps in some kind of way or another. And I hope to meet you one day out there at a restaurant somewhere or doing something. But it'll be pretty cool for that to happen.
I would like that very much. I would like to meet a lot of you all, for sure. And you definitely, man. I've been in a pretty crappy mood all the last 2 days, and talking to you really lift my spirits a lot too. So I want you to know that it's not just me that you're going to have an impact on out here. It's going to be many, many other people.
Right. Or you want to talk about this, and let's on you.
God bless you, man. Thank you. You too. Bye. I like him too. I know I keep saying that, but I do. Talking, I mean, like you just never know that some of these guys have been accused of just awful crimes. Oh, it's awful to be falsely accused of something. It's so awful. I don't know what's worse though, being falsely accused or serving your time that you were given, be free man for a couple years, and then get thrown back into prison for doing nothing. I don't know what would be worse. We got another call.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from... Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using PTL.
Hey,
Hi, Terrence.
hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very good. Very good. I was looking for Josh.
You're talking to him, and we are recording. So, I know you have a limited time, but you have you're welcome to say hi to anyone you want, and honestly share anything you want. The floor is yours.
Thank everybody out there that's working on our behalf, trying get this place shut down or get something done to where we can get home to our families. I want to appreciate all your work that you do. And I'd like to go on and talk about how destructive this program has been to get to men of color, if that's okay.
Please do it, man.
Okay, so I went into the program back in 2016, I think, and I started in the sister program. It's like right across the parking lot of this place. It's shut down now, but that's because of money with this place. But when I got there, I seen a lot of disparities with the races, and I got to asking a lot of questions. And at one point, the therapist whose case I was on called us, had a community meeting, and told us men of color that the program was white favored. You know, I had been asking those questions, and I had been seeing the signs, and finally they broke down and told us that it is. And they also told us that there's nothing we could do about it, and if we didn't like it, we could sign out.
Jeez.
So, and while I was working in the program, I was almost like phase 3. I was doing phase work, getting ready to go home, but something seemed to happen, and I wound up here. Now I'm in the commitment side. And as soon as I got here, right away, they did my assessment, and they made me start over from the very beginning. They told me none of that counted next door, and they started me from zero. So, and it took me 5 years to get from phase 1 to phase 2. Well, I watched all these guys come in behind me. Some of them got to go on home, make sure whatever commitments they went home. But some of them, most of them, just went like within a year they were zoomed, or 6 months. Next thing you know, they're in phase 2. And it took me forever to get here. And I started to wondering what that was about. It's because I continued to ask questions about this racial disparity. Why is it guys to do the exact same thing, but he has all these consequences, and he has virtually none? I could not understand it. So I moved from one unit to the next unit, and the same things are happening. I get over here, I was in a core group, and my scores got dropped. You know, the reasoning was that the director of the program, or director of that unit, the clinical director of that unit, said that my scores were too high. Even though the therapist case I was on was in their scoring tool, to make my scores for my monthly or quarterly, scatter, drop my scores down to below level, and it took me like years to get them back up to where they are now. And then they're still not the best. You know, I'm in this unit, still asking questions. Why the disparities? Why I get a PER for having an extra pillowcase that I didn't even know I had, and it takes me 6 months to get back up to where you'll even put me down for a polygraph. And
asking these questions, and they just give me no answer. I see these guys in here, and I'm in here too. I try to stay out of trouble, but I see guys, they get in trouble, and it's just hard to see them. One guy gets all of this stuff happen, good things happen, and the other guy gets nothing. I know for a fact that I'm in here with a guy that he hasn't been in treatment. He's been in here, say, 10 years. He hasn't been in treatment in, say, 5 of them. So finally he goes to treatment, and he goes from phase 1 to phase 2 in 6 months. So I go to my core group, and I'm asking questions like, how is that possible? The only thing I seen different between him and I is he was white and I was black. The only thing. I've been in program this whole time, and I've been here 7 years now. This entire time, why am I not progressing? Why am I looking around and I'm seeing these white people move forward, it seems like? And I'm not a racist guy or anything. It's just something's wrong with this issue here. Something's wrong with this place. And I can't get any straight answers. The therapists, I see who they interact with, and I'm not the only one. There's a bit of color in here. Sometimes we have these little discussions, and we wonder why it seems like we're being overlooked. We wonder why it seems like all the attention is going to people that don't look like us. We seem to be like pushed on the back burner. There is a totem pole here. There is a hierarchy here. And one thing we do know, we all of men of color do agree on, is that we're at the bottom. You'll see these guys moving forward, guys going down south, preparing to go home, and we still sit here. And we just sit and rock. I know there's only make up like 12% of the population in this place, but it's just like we're the ones that's not moving anywhere. We're just sitting. I'm just sitting here. I've been ready to take like my polygraph that'll send me down so that I can hopefully get down south and start moving towards being released or whatever, but nobody says anything. Nobody's telling me anything. I'm just sitting here, going to the group day after day. If I ask questions, the therapist, he just nods his head. He don't give me any explanation for anything. But the more Americans, and it's also it's disturbing to know that it's like we're the only culture that don't have religious practices here. What is that about? You got the Wiccans and Jewish people, and you got everybody else got their religious times. We have nothing.
What is your religion?
I'm a Moorish American.
Okay.
We don't have any Moorish services. Now, when I was in the prison across the street over there, we had Moorish services. And every other prison I've ever been in, there's Moorish services. But here they're giving me to run around, giving us to run around about why it's not being allowed. And none of it makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is when I approach one of the people down in the religious library or the religious area, the young lady said something about some guy that tried to get it before that came across as crazy or whatever. So that was a character judgment in itself. But anyway, the point is, they're not helping with or working with us in any way, shape, or form. But even something like that, and I thought the religion was at least the right, it's just, again, the same thing. Everybody else have theirs. We got nothing. And all these other guys moving forward, and me and my people just sit here and rock. Be particular. I'm in a core group, and I explain these things to the therapist. That I'm culturally sensitive and things like that, and I just don't understand it. There's no therapists that look like me. There's one. He's from Africa, though. I'm African American, so Moorish American. It's like there's nobody here that looks like me, so there's nobody that can really relate to me. I'm urban, so, and I'm up here dealing with people from the country. A lot of them from the Iron Range, and racism is like really high in the Iron Range. So go up to the desk, and there's 5 white guards sitting there. Then you got 3 white inmates sitting there, chopping it up with them. And if I'll go to get something, maybe take a piece of paper or something up there that I need, maybe to run through the printer or something, I get the dirty looks. I get the this and I get to that. It's to the point where I won't even go to the desk anymore. I don't even go up there. If I need an envelope, something, I just write it by hand. If I need something copied, I wait till or have sent somebody up or sell somebody else up there. I won't even go up there. That's how tough it is. That's how miserable it is going and trying to interact with people. And it's never. They're so blatant with their I call it racism. I call it their bigotry. They're so blatant with it that it's disrespectful. So I try not to even interact with any of the team because they're all white. I try not to interact with any of the staff because they're all white. I mean, everybody's white. You know, and except for the brothers running around here. And they just thought, that's so bad. And I ain't saying it. You hate whitey or nothing like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying. But what I am saying is Jim Crow is a lie. I'm saying racism is a lie. I'm saying bigotry is a lie. I'm saying it's systemic and it permeates this place. It reeks in this place. And if you try to bring it to their attention and try them to become culturally sensitive, they blame it on me. They're trying to tell me I'm seeing little green men from Mars, or that it's something wrong in my head, or
Jeez.
and it's disrespectful. You know, I'm a 55-year-old man, and I've seen a lot. You know, done a lot. My parents were both born in the 30s, so they've been through a lot.
Yeah.
They've seen a lot, and they've seen it a lot. So when I try to bring them up on culturally sensitive issues, I read a lot of cultural books about those types of things. Spiritual books about those, and I can't get them to understand or sympathize whatsoever with the plight of the black man in this country, or in how it relates to what's going on in this particular system. They just don't want to hear it. They just don't want to hear it, and it's just disrespectful. I mean, I wish they was somewhere down near the city that they could send me, or because it's just so. You got to understand how disheartening it is and how hopeless I feel being in a situation where I don't believe there's anybody in here on the staff that cares whether I get back home to my family, that has any empathy or sympathy at all for my situation. I did 128 months in prison, and after that, I got sent here. And 7 of those years in prison I spent in their program, their sister program, to this program. And I went from there, here. And when I got here, they started me over. I've been here 7 years now. I don't have an out date, and I don't have anybody that's willing to help me get home. No, I've made all these changes, and I don't have anybody that's willing to listen. I go to this SRB panel. You know, and not only it's difficult to look on this television screen with these 8 different boxes and these 8 different faces, and they're all white. You know, they're all powerful white people, and they look at me, the poor black man, and I'm expecting some type of relief from these people is impossible. And you know what I get? Nothing. I get absolutely nothing. They tell me go back to the drawing board. Everything. I've been to this SRB thing twice now, and they just keep telling me that you need this. Go back the next time. There could be a whole other list of things that I need to do. So I've completed those, and now I'm expecting China to go back again. I applied a year ago, and I haven't heard a thing. So I'm trying to get back to them, and I already know. When I go there, they're just going to give me another list of things to do and send me right back in this place for another 7 years. And it's disheartening because my brothers are dying off. My mom died. My dad's dying. My family's dying off, and I'm sitting here for no good reason. I've done their duty. I did their time. I did everything they've asked me to do. Everything. And they won't even give you the time of day. You got therapists running through here, staff, they won't even give you the time of day. And the way they look at you, you know what it's about. You know what it's about. Because it's the white guy or the other guy right next to you can ask the same question or approach them in the same manner, and their whole manner is changed. But when they turn and look at me, it's a totally different thing. And then it's hard. And it hurts. It hurts. It hurts to feel, to know that I'm in what could be potentially the greatest country on the planet and still be treated like a second-class citizen. In fact, I had a t-shirt made by a guy that says second-class citizen across the top, and that's how
You have 1 minute remaining.
Hey, I want you to spend this last minute. I want you to tell people how important your culture is to you, because there's a lot of people that just don't and won't understand without hearing it. Can you share why your culture is important to you?
We're strong people, and we helped build this country.
Yes, you did.
We have a stake in this country because we helped build it. And most of us, like myself and my parents, were born here. So we're naturalized American citizens. So we have a right to be here. So, and I just think that it continues to grow. And I think I want to say that I believe we're all connected.
Yes.
You know, black, white, purple, green, we're all connected by strands. And we see each other. We're all one people. Human race is one people. And I think that if we could all just stand together and trust one another and really love on one another, I think this country and it will continue.
Thank you for using GTL.
Dadgummit. Well, I that may be it. He in that reference that he was making about building this country, they built our cities. African Americans, of course, you know, people from all over the world, and a lot of cultures did, but African Americans helped build the cities here in Minneapolis, which is one of the coolest cities ever. San Diego, Chicago, Philadelphia, New York. When you learn about gentrification and redlining, there's another one I'm forgetting about. Dadgummit. But I mean, like, they legitimately have been screwed, African Americans. And I know that it's, you know, some people say, well, get over it. You know, racism's dead. I mean, look, I'm sure the racism is nothing like what it used to be, but the president of this country is a racist. Like, and it's, you know, I don't know why people just forget all the things he said about African Americans, but whatever. I mean, yeah, do you. But the fact is that, you know, I know that a lot of African Americans have become very successful in this country, and, you know, that's a thing. And I'm not talking about the athletes, because, I mean, to be honest with you, I look at that as a form of slavery. I think that all of us are in a slavery system, financial system. That is slavery, this financial system we have. And yes, of course, people can make it, and there's people that can do very well. There's opportunities, but there's, you know, the game is rigged against certain people and certain demographics, and it's messed up. And racism is not dead in this country at all. It's not even close to dead. Is it better? Sure. It's also changed. But one thing that is not discussed enough, and I've heard someone make a comment about Trump, and I'm not a Trump fan, I never will be a Trump fan, but the fact is that Trump has done more for black people than this president has. Trump did more for black people than Obama did. And that's a fact. Now, again, I'm not a Trump fan, not even close. I don't like any of these people that are in office. And I won't be a fan. I'm ready to see some change. And wow, we've got another call.
Hello. This is a prepaid debit call from... Calls are subject to monitoring and may be recorded. Your call will now be connected. Thank you for using GTL.
Hello?
Hi, this is Joshua. Who are you?
My name is Randall Carnwell.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you. I understand a forum for broadcasting or something?
Yes, sir. We're recording now, and this is an opportunity for you to share anything and everything on your heart. You can say hello to anyone you want to say hi to. Honestly, the mic is yours, my man.
Right. Well, I'll say hi to the world. But mostly, I want to talk about MSOP. The MSOP is the Minnesota Sex Offender Program, and what it really is a Minnesota Sex Offender Prison. It's a second bite out of the apple for what society is the most despicable, disdainful human beings. They have already cast us, right?
Yeah.
They have done crimes in their history, and they have served their time, and they come out and they're trying to get back into the community, into their best. They come here, and the hope is that this place is going to provide some kind of therapy, vocation, and get them back into the community. But none of that happens. What they do here is they house and create from out of nowhere, out of air, and say that this is treatment. But the treatment that they have, the main treatment that they have, is recognized by no psychological school in America, and its success rate is non-existent. So you have a place that says they want to help get back into the community, but it's going to take them 30 years, and they base their diagnosis of you on things that happened 20 years ago. So it's like someone who was diagnosed with cancer 20 years ago, and they went and got, whatever that therapy is for cancer, and it works. And then 20 years later, the doctor comes back and says, we're going to treat you again for cancer. But you don't have any symptoms of cancer. The cancer is gone. Well, it doesn't really matter. You had it way back then, and so we're going to base our diagnosis on things that are happening way back then. And the only way that you can get out is if you can prove us that you will never commit another crime in the future. So it's more like a cult. It's as if they don't want anyone ever to get out. I believe that Governor Pawlenty said not on his watch. He will never get out on his watch. And it's understandable. No one likes a sex offender. And sex offenders have been denied by the media, by neighborhoods, by advocates for victims. And we even have the same future for ourselves. It's not like we love ourselves, because being a sex offender or having this phrase sex offender associated with the name doesn't give you a lot of room to have self-esteem. Everything I sign in this place has the word sex offender on it. Sex offender is known throughout America to be the worst that exists. So if I am constantly calling myself and having to call myself a sex offender, how can I ever be conditioned to be human or feel human or act human? And even if these are the things that I want, a lot of the men here have never been convicted of sex crime. They've had issues as juveniles. They were never an adult offender. They've been here 22, 23 years at $500 a day just to be housed. And while they were here, they committed no crime. They've attacked no staff member. They have exhibited nothing that suggests that they are out of control with whatever diagnosis they were claiming to have. So I'm thinking that if the right people looked at this place, they would know something is wrong. There's a scam here.
Yeah.
There are places out in the community that can actually help people get to a point where they can live and navigate their lives in a community. If you get out of the penitentiary with a sex crime, your life is going to be different, period. You're going to have to live a different life. You're going to have to find a different way home from work if it's going past the school. That's how your life is going. What happens after death, the life for you. And I get that. This place does not really concern itself with that. Their concern is more with what can we deny them. First Amendment rights are denied all. Religious rights are denied all. Here, gender bias absolutely perpetrated here. These men are not treated like clients. They're treated like prisoners. They say that this is a treatment center, but if you walk through here and just use your eyes, you have to say this is a prison. But they don't say it's a prison. They say don't listen or see with your eyes. Listen to what we're telling you. Who's going to believe? Us or your lying eye? What I'm asking the public to do is stop not hearing it. What the truth is, they're wasting your money. It's $115 million a year to run this place. $5 million of that goes towards employees. And the employees have no success rate. None. I mean, if you were taking a PO to solve a problem, and the PO didn't do anything for you, but gave you headaches, I assume that you stop taking that PO and try something else. Going to that. It's the same thing over and over and over again. There's a condition that is known as treatment fatigue. And what happens is that a person does the same thing over and over again. After a while, they become numb to it. It's no longer worth its like. If you say to your wife, I love you, but you keep on it. You can't come back and say, I love you, but you get on her again. And this was the fourth thing. After a while, the word I love you means nothing to them. No, it has nothing to what you really.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So they have a lot of lawsuits against these people in this place. And there's some who are seeing it. There's Senator Sandy who is looking into this. There's the Department of Justice who's come in and taking a look at this place. Every expert who has come in here has said that these people are in violation, but they are still running. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that this place is capable of running the way it is without scrutiny? There's only one real reason. Because if this was a school with schools in it, everybody would be in an uproar.
Yeah.
If it were a place with your family members in it, your elderly in it, they would be in an uproar. But who wants to step forward for a sex offender? They're not stepping forward for a sex offender. You're stepping forward for a citizen. These are citizen rights that you're fighting for. The right to be heard, the right to have your name in court. So that people can't come and read the book and say, I can tell by this person's look that he is a criminal for the rest of his life, and that in his future there is crime, unless this person is some type of god or just becoming something like that. This is not true. What has happened is that the sex offender program and the commitment process has become a political soapbox, and well, it gets votes. I'm hard on sex offenders. You're not, because the sex offender recidivism rate is exactly the same as it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's not going up higher. In fact, sex offender recidivism is the lowest. The only thing that's less than sex offender recidivism is, murderers. The money that they're waiting here, better spent for programs that actually work, and you spend like 10% of the money. The rest of the money can go towards daycare and spending money on job promotion, vocational things like that. Recently, I found out that one of the main people who was running this program, Mr. Benson, retired recently. Went to, I think, Atlantic City, and he bought a casino. He awarded, so he named the casino before the casino. People come to make money. Somehow something is happening to it, and people are making money on it, and no one cares because people who are in locked in this place are considered the worst that exists, but it used to be to them. I'd say 80% of the people here can function on the street. I'm pretty sure that 70%, 60% of them are will never come back to a place like this because of what they're experiencing here now. There's a man here, I can't say his name because I don't want to embarrass him or anything, but he's 86 years old. He's a doctor. He actually gets up, goes up the stairs, and runs around, trying to maintain. It takes him a minute to walk from the phone to the microwave. That's about 50 yards. Like, under the recidivism rate, will not commit another crime ever. They're going to let them die here. And they don't want me to say that. And they don't want to have you hear that. They don't want pictures of the rooms that they have where they let you die, but that's what happens. They'd rather have you die in that room than die with your family. One therapist said, he said, why don't you let them go home? Well, we don't know if he's still capable of committing a crime. He died, I think, 60 days later. In bed, unconscious almost. When he said that he no longer works here, but there's been an exiting lately of a lot of people that facilities for whatever reason. What I say is nothing. Did nothing change. It's nothing for the worst of society. Did nothing change. You become a part of the problem. And then when it starts to affect you in your neighborhood, when it moves down into your neighborhood, and you can't stop it because of the momentum is so I don't know.
You have 1 minute remaining.
It's so fast now because no one has stepped forward. Then whose fault is it? The men who have served their time were promised an opportunity to be a part of their community if they rehabilitated themselves, which they did in prison. None of these men were told in the prison, in the courtroom, that they were mentally ill or had any mental disability, so they could go to court and fight their case without that being expense for them. And then 20 years later, all of a sudden, it's a part of their way of committing people, especially minorities, the gay community, African American, Native American. So,
Thank you for using GTL.
Ah. Huh. don't like it when it abruptly cuts off like that. Oh. Well, I don't think there's any more people calling. I've had no idea. I don't know. Maybe someone will, but I didn't even know this many were going to call. That said, I'm grateful for all of the people who did call and shared what's on their heart. And I want to thank you for listening. It's been, well, not quite 3 hours, but getting there. Thank you for listening. I would appreciate if you prayed for the people that are locked up and their families, because their families, the families need prayer as much as they do, the guys that are locked up. And God, it's not easy. It can't be easy for them. There's a lot of people going through things right now. It'd be kind of interesting if they were actually safer there than we are on the outside, but that's probably not true. Anyway, thank you for listening, and thank you for sharing, and thank you for praying for them. God bless you all. Bye-bye.